be live right now, but as always, it takes about 30 seconds for the restream to go and pop up. But it appears that we already have the pop culture mechanic in the chat. And we also got Mr. David Glenn, which he was here first, So last person here is a rotten egg. So you all, better invite your friends here before we get rotten eggs. So first and foremost, this is my first time ever doing a what do you call it? A scheduled stream. So I'm gonna humbly ask you guys to let me know, how's the sound? Can you see me and Mr. Punkwaddle and his avatar, and can you hear us? And Punkwaddle, say your name, say hi.
I was retweeting the stream.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
So
there we go.
Oh, I guess,
No, you're good. You're good. I was talking over you. I apologize. Oh, good. Okay, David Glenn says sound is great.
I'm not under duress. I'm just hanging out with DJ Runny G. Okay.
Do you play pool?
Why would I play pool?
It looks like a pool stick next to you.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of in the corner.
That's interesting. See, that's a good introduction right there to learn about people's hobbies and stuff like that. I once saw a video on one of these Japanese how it's made YouTube channels, and boy, they get intricate with their pool sticks. But
I actually don't play pool. Just found that in a parking lot once, and I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
I would retrieve it too. If I saw a pool stick in public, 100%, I would take that shit home. I remember many years ago, I met an Asian kid, and he had a pool stick inside of like what looked like a rifle case. And it turned out he was gambling, so I was glad that I didn't join him for a game of pool, because he might have hustled me.
That's one of those ones that breaks apart. I think it's slightly warped, so it'd be a terrible stick to use in real life, but,
Maybe that's why it was in the parking lot. But, Pop Culture Mechanic suggests that this might just be Punkwaddle's new walking stick. Wait, is this implying that you have an old walking stick?
I don't know. I have heard that, waddle tall and carry a big stick, so maybe you'll see that one around. Yeah.
I believe that was Waddle Roosevelt who said that.
Oh, yeah. Waddle
or Franklin Waddle. I mix them up. Yeah. I like the old Roosevelt. I mean, I didn't like him much, but he was okay. He was a cool outdoorsman. And then FDR, don't even get me started. I'm not trying to bring geopolitics into this today, but and if I start harping on flat earthers, you have to stop me.
All right, get off that turtle and let's go.
All right. So anyway, speaking
of turtles, where's that whale?
That's my turtle. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So anyway, what I got here for today, everyone, is we got two things. I think so do we want to do horror stories or Gunpla first? What do you think, guys, huh? Because I got like a hell of a horror story, and it's a chronicle of an expedition. I've talked about this before on my streams, but today we're going to cover it in a greater depth than ever before, and it involves the Arctic, which is right up your alley. Oh, shit, I left my picture of fucking Cubert downstairs. Shit. Part of my friend.
Your rendition of Cubert?
I drew a picture of your ice house at work today with a mechanical pencil. I might actually go downstairs and fetch it in a little while, but not right now, save it for a bathroom break, But it's not that important. Maybe I'll make it a community post on Twitter,
I mean, I'm excited to see it, but yeah, let's get on with the show.
All right. You know what? Yeah, so let's go and shoot, man. I don't know where to begin, but I have an unboxing here. I have some gunplay here. We're going to go into the Arctic horror story here. So this is kind of like something that I jumped into a while ago. And what happened was I stumbled into a book by the guy who wrote Hyperion called The Terror. And it's about two ships, the HMS Terror and HMS Erebus. And these were like icebreaker ships that were actually converted bombardment ships. So a bombardment ship has like these super heavy mortars on the ship's deck. And the song The Star Spangled Banner, ever hear of it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
You've heard it, right? Yeah, so as it turns out, the part where they say bombs bursting in air has to do with one of these two ships right here. So in around 1812 or 18, I think it's War of 1812, one of these ships was involved. And basically the ships are heavily reinforced because they could shoot, they could shoot these heavy mortars. So as it turns out, these were also ideal icebreakers, basically. So like 30, 40 years later, they make them the icebreakers in 1845.
I mean, those are kind of like the ones they had in Happy Feet when they stole the penguins, right? I think so.
Yo,
Hollywood for that.
It's interesting you mentioned that. So, did they have a sailing ship in Happy Feet, or was it like a
I think it was a
steam
big
ship?
freightliner. You know, a little more modern.
Gotcha. Oh, like
Yeah, all
it's
those
kind of interesting
environmentalists,
because like
activists.
I learned about a whaling ship today in my travels, and
Yeah.
it was about a group of guys who ended up cannibalizing each other. They were like, hunting for whale, and I guess they didn't get enough whale meat, and they had to eat each other instead.
Oh, Donner
Kind of,
Party. The other
yeah.
white group meet. White whale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think I butchered that joke.
I mean, someone had to well, someone got butchered in this story too.
Oh wow. All right.
Kill.
Well, let's go there. You
Oh
know
my
what?
god.
Why don't you embiggen yourself and
Oh
I'll
yeah,
just
yeah,
be a
yeah, yeah,
little.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be on the
Go for
side.
it.
Yeah, I'll be right here in the corner.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
hold on. I'll be
And
back.
if you got to melt some ice or something, go into avatar mode. Feel free, jump in
Yeah.
and out as needed. So that's why I moved myself over about 3 inches. So this story is great, and if you guys want to see the fictionalization of this, then look up the AMC miniseries. It's on the AMC Plus app. I'm sure there's other ways to view it. And so basically, the goal of these two ships was to go on an expedition. The captain's name, in fact, I have a picture of the captain. I hope I have the picture of the captain. Let's see if this works. Yeah, okay, not this guy, the other guy.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy here. So this guy here is Captain Sir
Okay.
John Franklin, and he was actually the governor of Tasmania, like years before 1845. And so
Did he
he's
get the
like
nickname?
50. Mhm.
Did he get the nickname of the Tasmanian Devil?
Interestingly, not. But you know what's funny? Back then, Tasmania was called Van Diemen's Land, which I don't think it
Oh,
means demons, but it sounds like it does. It's kind of funny.
yeah.
Devils, demons, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Maybe that's why it's called Tasmanian Devils.
Maybe that's
Demon
what it
Land.
was. Maybe they went
Yeah.
from demons to devils. I don't know. And like he was the governor of that particular area. Then he got like fired because some bullshit scandal that wasn't really his fault, and the people loved him and stuff. But anyway, he's like trying to clear his reputation. He's trying to get a legacy. So his wife is like, Lady Franklin is all like, oh yeah, go to the Arctic or some shit. So he's like, I'm gonna go to the Arctic. And so the goal was to find the Northwest Passage. And so they take their converted bombardment ships, which we're already looking at on screen here. And if I can get this thing to go toggle like this.
And the dawn's early light.
Bombs bursting in air. I can't sing like you.
Okay.
I mean, you're a better singer. You are. You have way more vocal range. I mean, I don't have any vocal
It
range.
proved through the night that the Arctic was still there. And the other died. Okay, go on.
So, you got your two ships here. Now, back then, it was normal for the ships to winter over. So, what they would do is they'd go out and they might spend a year or two stuck in the ice. So, it was the routine when they got stuck. So, they had to basically, let's get the map up because actually that's the first thing I should show. So, the goal is to find a Northwest Passage. And this is like a shortcut to the Orient. This is a shortcut to the East. And David Glenn is demanding an encore maybe a little later. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
don't upstage me, man. No, I'm kidding. You can sing anytime you want.
Well, I think that's public. I don't want to sing any copyrighted thing, but
I don't give a shit. I'm about to play some copyrighted video in a little while, but no, I appreciate your concern because
Hot diggity dog. Yeah.
wouldn't it be funny if you saying that is what got me copyright struck?
That'd be
Like,
hilarious.
somehow there's a movie, but no, like jokes aside, like so I take liberties on my own channel, but
Yeah.
obviously it's true that I avoid taking liberties on other people's channels.
I want to respect where I'm at.
But I'm confused here. So I just realized it says Greenland, Denmark. So is it Denmark or is it Greenland? Nah, jokes aside, I'm going to guess that the Denmarkians or Danish owned Greenland back then, maybe? I guess.
Time.
I don't know, but the Arctic Circle, you got a bunch of Inuit and Eskimo people. And so their goal is to cut through here, but it's usually ice throughout the year. But if they can just find like some paths in the ice, they're Gucci, they're good. And so they had a guy on both ships called an Ice Master, including a guy named not Captain, Mr. Blanky. And he could read the ice. He could
Wait.
look at, and yeah, we got the Venkman fan.
Did he legitimately have the position of Ice Master?
Yes. Literally, that was his position. He was called the
Holy
Ice
crap!
Master.
I think we need. I think Hubert is gonna get a promotion soon.
I like it. Let me see. I might even have a picture of him doing his job as Ice Master. In fact, let's go and see if we can test the waters of a copyright claim. So they had these railroad engines in the belly of the ship, and I better open up the YouTube stream data so I can make sure it flags me when I. So basically, the way it works with copyright is YouTube will give you a warning on your screen, and if you don't get in too deep, you can usually salvage the show. So as long as I keep looking up at that corner of my screen, I'm good. So anyway, yeah, so this is like one of the steam locomotive engines in the belly of the ship. In fact, it was a train converted to a boat engine. So this is something that they added to the ship that wasn't originally there. That was so that they wouldn't have to be like reliant on the wind. And shout out to the Peter Venkman fan site. And I dream of having a Peter Venkman fan site. You know, you see, you get what I'm saying? Like a fan site for the fan site.
Wow. That meta is real.
Yeah, is that? Really, I don't even know the meaning of the word.
The meta or the fan site?
Huh. Okay. So these guys here, they're getting ready to go on their expedition. So actually, they got stuck in the ice already. So we're gonna just fast forward. They got stuck in the ice already because apparently that's the footage I have. So let's pull up the victory point note, and this is so cool because basically, like. They like in the beginning of the expedition, they say, I'm gonna make this nice and readable, and I should have gotten the print version of this because it's gonna be impossible to read. But I will roll with it. We'll roll with it. All right. So basically, this is a note that the British use, and it says like whoever finds this paper is requested to forward it to the Secretary of the Admiralty in London with a note of the time and place at which it was found, or if more convenient, to deliver it for that purpose to the British consul. And then it's got like 5 more languages like French and German, and like it's got ver, descend, zetel, find it. It says find it. It literally says find it.
Find it?
Yeah, find it. It's like a find it. Anyway, and so
anyway. Germans, find it.
Ja.
Ja. Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Gefunden worden ist Gefalliger Angabi Gesundheit. And one day I want to like make a comic book about the guy from World War II having a computer, and instead of it being called Mein Kampf, it would be called Mein Kampf, and it would be him sitting in front of a PC like with his little mustache, like, you know, typing on a keyboard. Anyway,
well, that would actually be pretty funny. I mean, I'd be interested in that.
Right? Wouldn't that be funny? I think so, you know. So this note here, okay, the victory point note is so cool. So, well, it's not cool, but it's kind of cool. So it was actually left in 1846, but the captain was either like half sick or had lead poisoning and just wrote the wrong year. Yeah, but basically they write down Her Majesty's ships Erebus and Terror wintering in the ice in 28th May 1846, latitude, longitude, blah blah blah. So they give their coordinates. Having wintered in 1846 at Beechey Island, and that's somewhere on that map I was showing, we'll go back to that in a minute, at this latitude, blah, 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 after having blah, 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 shit, I can't read cursive, and by the blah, blah, blah. So long story short, they say all is well. Mm-hmm.
Did you say blah, blah, blah?
I said blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah is a lawyer from Arrested
yeah.
Development. You know, he was very helpful.
Anyway. Oh, yeah. He was helpful. And I remember Bob Law. Yeah, he was interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. That was a fun show, too.
Phenomena.
I did enjoy that show. Oh, did you just do the Anonymous song?
I did.
Oh, yeah, he's a nice guy, too. I need to get, like, mad clips. So I actually tried preparing some, like, preloaded buttons into my Stream Deck yesterday, and
buttons.
It got complicated. Like, I was able to get this far, and then this wasn't toggling right, and I just fixed it like 10 minutes ago. Nice. And then this button's supposed to toggle, but this button's supposed to bring up some other shit, and it's not. Yeah. And then this button here, and we'll get. Oh yeah, so these two guys. So okay,
these two guys.
So this guy's Captain Sir John Franklin, in charge of the expedition. Yeah. He's in charge of the ship that he's actually in front of right now. That's the HMS Erebus, which actually means Gates of Hell. So it's kind of like Erebus.
Oh.
It's an ERE bus. Every bus, but not ever bust, like not bust the kneecap like the mafia do when you owe their money and it's 1930 and you're my grandpa.
That's what this pool cue is for, actually.
That makes sense actually, because they are very rigid pool cues and they do hurt, and especially if you hit somebody, if you whack them with the part that is designed to be threaded on to the other bit, that brass really digs into the kneecap. It like really like you will like ruin a man's bicycle career. If a bicycle guy owes you money. So you know, Franklin's in front of his ship.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he once saw a guy fall without a helmet. Anyway, I don't want to get. That was an ugly picture. So, okay, Captain Sir John Franklin is in charge of the Erebus. The guy on the left side of the picture I'm showing now, the leftmost guy, is Captain Francis Crozier, and he was in charge of the HMS Terror. He's very experienced. He's a polar explorer. He can speak Eskimo. He can speak Inuit.
Nice.
So he's like the guy who probably should have been in charge of the expedition, but he's Irish, so you can't have that back then in Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about this, but apparently that's a thing, you know.
Yeah,
and I know
potatoes and gingers, you know.
Yeah, gingers too. They have trouble with gingers. I don't know what's wrong with gingers. I mean, I get it. They can be scary sometimes, but they're all right.
Yeah, I mean,
I know they don't have souls and stuff, but I mean, you know.
I mean, yeah, is it? I mean, they talk about ginger side, but if they don't have a soul, I mean, well, we don't need to get into that. But.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, I'm not. Look, I mean. They'll have to answer to the maker, you know what I mean? So those poor fellas, those unfortunate fellas who have red hair and freckles, they're gonna have to, you know, make their peace with their maker, or perhaps be entered into the gates. And the Peter Venkman fan site says, "Hail, punk model."
Okay, and I just want to address pop culture mechanic. I'm in official law enforcement now. Now there was a time that I may have tried to be a bouncer, a little enforcer. You know, I didn't. You know, it was hard times, and I realized it wasn't for me because I am a lawful chaotic or something. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I'm not unlawful. Yeah,
that shit's complicated. I remember doing a quiz, and they're like, "You are lawful chaotic. You are friendly chaotic. You are unlawful and peaceful." Okay, I'm making shit up now, but I remember seeing these, like, it's almost like the political compass chart.
Yeah, it's like a Myers-Briggs personality test, but for character alignment. We should go over that sometime and figure out how terrible Wilton is, but maybe that's another stream.
That would be a real. Actually, if we have time, I'll do it. But yeah, one thing I gotta say. So this is my Monday show. I didn't explain my Monday show to you at all. Have you ever watched my Monday show before, Punk Waddle?
No, I'm actually. I didn't realize you were doing it.
That's okay. No, I'm heavily offended, but that's okay. No, I'm kidding. But jokes aside, this is something I started some weeks ago, and I promised myself I would do it consistently every week, whether or not I had anything good to talk about. Jokes aside, I really do try to bring some A game, but my main goal was just to do this shit consistently, because I remember when Loki on Wednesday does his YouTube talk, he basically said, whether you do a show once a week or once a month or every day, just do it on that consistent pattern on schedule, and like you'll either get regular viewers or at least people will know where to find you. So I've been doing this for a while, like at least 6 weeks, and between Loki and what you and Floral are doing, you know, it's kind of like I see, like, you know, you and Floral do your shit, not shit, but your show every week.
I do that sometimes.
So anyway, this note here, a year later, they update the same note, except this time they're writing in the margin of the note. And they're basically saying, like, in the note, party consisting of 2 officers, something. But basically, long story short, it says that the bald guy, Captain Franklin, is dead now. And they're going to abandon the ship and make their way to, like, some river called the Great Fish River, also known as Back's Fish River. It's named after some guy named Mr. Back. It's a weird name. I don't know what type of name.
They're bringing the river back.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's just a weird name. I mean, like, I don't know if his friends would be like, "Back at you." And be like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" You know, I don't know how that would work. But if you look up the victory point note, people in the chat, friends in the chat, people, you know what I mean? Well, we're all people. But anyway, if you look up the victory point note, Franklin Expedition, you'll get the typed text version of this. I don't want to do too much Googling on stream. I want to kind of keep myself mentally present for everyone present. So, you know, but bottom line is, this says they're gonna abandon the ships in the ice, and now the only guys remaining are these 2 guys. Whoops, not these guys. These 2 guys. So the guy on the right took over.
People left alive?
Oh no! Thank God, no. But it doesn't. Soon enough, there will be only that many guys left.
Oh, so what happened to the Ice Master? Did he die or did he get?
Well. Oh my God.
Right.
Oh, okay. So the Ice Master in the movie. in the movie, in the TV movie, or you know, I just want to double check the video before I get copyright claims. So let me just skip to it real quick.
Yeah.
In the TV movie, the Ice Master loses a leg and fighting a monster polar bear that is like way bigger than a real polar bear, and he ends up drinking beer out of his boot. So imagine like a guy with like a wooden boot for a leg. And then they're having a party and he's drinking rum out of his Das Boot. Yeah, he pulled a Das Boot right there. So I don't know if I have that scene, but that scene was so like badass. His name was Mr. Blanky.
Drunk Waddle would appreciate that one if he was around.
I might have to make like some clip compilations here. I'm just skipping through the movie real quick, see if I can find anything here. You know, like they did try to go hunting in the movie at least, but we don't know if they did this in real life. I mean, there's just challenges associated with, you know, finding polar bears in a very harsh winter. In fact, wait, I think I can actually show the part. Wait.
All right.
Well, anyway, this is Mr. Blanky the Ice Master, and I'm hoping to find a scene where he's got no leg.
He's not a bald yet.
And then that's Mr. Franklin's wife nagging the freaking Admiralty. She's all like, "Oh, have you looked for my husband yet?" And they're like, "He's fine." He's like, "But it's been over a year."
Love me. I've got the papers.
She's really good friends with Charles Dickens, so Dickens got all like up in a tizzy and basically like slandered some poor guy for like interviewing Eskimos and finding out that there was some cannibalism. Oh yeah, good. This is the part. So this is the Ice Master, Mr. Blanky, in the TV movie, and he's basically fighting the Yeti right here. And so help me God if the audio is what does me in. You know what? We're not turning on the audio for this.
Don't do it. It's a trap.
I'm gonna find his leg. I want to see him drinking beer out of his leg. Damn it. That's Captain Crozier, the guy I mentioned before. I don't know why there's a giant pause button there. That seems like, you know, I recorded this while I was at work today, and apparently like a big chunk of the recording has this pause button permanently stuck in the middle. So yeah. Oh shit, this is cool though. So see these sunglasses they're wearing?
Okay.
They're super improvised. So basically when they found like leftovers from the expedition, they found these like things that had like a metal screen on the sunglasses, and and like they made these makeshift glasses because, you know, you get snow blind walking around on these islands and stuff. Okay, and it's a, let's see here, I just double check. I want to make sure the chat, there we go. Okay, good. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to the chat here. Don't let Mrs. Flu hear this. What part don't we want Mrs. Flu to hear? Did we say anything that Mrs. Flu would be offended by?
Maybe that I was an enforcer. Maybe that peppered past.
Peppered past. And then, oh, excuse me, I think I belched.
Well, probably more of a salty past because a lot of people put salt on the ice.
Oh, wait. David Glenn confirmed it was about the gingers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we offended gingers. And we got QEPX over here. And I want QEPX, meet my dear friend Punk Waddle in the, this way. Yeah, this guy over here.
Right here.
Yeah,
right here.
Yeah, right here. That's Punk Waddle. So I ain't playing Roblox tonight, but I'll play Roblox on Wednesday, QEPX, because QEPX put me on to Roblox.
Oh, that's cool. You know, if there was only a way that we could like green screen me or put me up like perched on your shoulder, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. Oh shoot. So I was actually looking into something like about penguins in the North Pole, because like, do they exist? And it turns out there was a bird species that was related to penguins. And they weren't quite like penguins, but they've been extinct for like a long, for like 300 years or something like that. I think they got hunted.
They got eaten.
Yeah, I think they basically became dinner like the dodo or something, you know. And so it's kind of sad, but
maybe
it would have been nice.
Better than penguins.
Because I mean, I want to know, like, hopefully they tasted better than penguins. You're right. Now I think penguins are like seal. They taste like fish.
Really? You take that back. I've heard the penguins are greasy, more like duck. But don't you dare say that I'm like a seal, my arch nemesis.
I mean, nothing gets greasier than a seal. I mean, they are just blubber. Like, they could never fly.
Don't you know that penguins and seals don't necessarily get along?
Really? Do they have seals in themselves? I don't. So this is like a thing that was messing with me.
I don't know if that's true. I've just seen videos.
As I understand it, polar bears are like a northern phenomenon, and and your kind are like a Antarctic or South Polar phenomenon.
That's correct. That is correct. Yeah.
And I think Pop Culture Mechanic is potentially. I'm not going to say triggered. I don't want to accuse him of being triggered, but he says, I think he's offended. He's actually not siding with you, I would say, but I think he's being sensitive to your concerns. Pop Culture Mechanic says you hit a nerve there, DJ. Don't offend Punk Waddle with those seal slurs.
We're not the same as seals.
Well, I mean, fair enough. I'm not going to argue, because I think that seals are very. I mean, they're even more flightless than your kind. At least your kind has the guts to come up on land. Seal, on the other hand, they got to make like little holes in the ice basically and breathe through the hole, and that's how the Eskimos could hunt for them. So they get stuck in the ice. And they do some like chariot races, and they're dragging these boats on the ice. But the problem is you can't just drag a boat on the ice, so they had to build sleds under the boats. And one of the boats they had was called a pinnace, and we can sort of see the pinnace. And yes, I know it sounds like a dirty joke, but you can sort of see the pinnace right here in the middle of the deck. And so they had a couple of these like.
Are you saying that it was not my deer?
Say again?
The pinnace was not my deer.
No, the pinnace was not my idea. In this case, it was more like a pin.
Oh.
So compared to the ship, but actually the pinnaces were very much. Actually, I take that back because pinnaces. I know where you're going with this.
Yep.
But pinnaces were actually like the runabouts of this type of boat. So while you have these small like fisher boats that are like shuttlecraft, the pinnaces were just a bit bigger, and to the point that these are like serious little ships for serious sailing. Like you can like basically it had like a detachable mast, and I'm just pulling up a relevant picture
detachable
here.
Pinnace?
A detachable detachable shaft that attaches to the pinnace.
Dear God, man, do you know what you're saying?
I don't know what I'm saying. Nah.
Keep going. I love this. This is great.
I'm just rolling with it here, and so these pinnaces had detachable shafts on them apparently.
Okay.
And I want to find a nice, clear picture of a pinnace. I downloaded while I was at work today. I downloaded some really clear pictures of pinnaces, and by golly, I'm gonna find
the horror
these.
Story now?
Oh, we didn't get to the horror story yet, but I think we're gonna. Okay, so let's just sum this up to a point, and then I can tell the horror story. All right.
Okay.
So because there is a great horror story. So okay, they take these like pinnaces, and a pinnace is like a medium-sized boat that they put on a sled, and these men are coming down with scurvy. Turns out their canned food is like potentially giving them lead poisoning, and half of the canned provisions aren't even sealed correctly because like they were done as a rush job. This is like the first canned food you could ever get, basically. So the process wasn't quite down pat. So these people are getting fucking diarrhea, dysentery. They're getting fucking, like the food botulism.
That's opening a can of something ass, right?
Yo, it's like a can of microscopic worms that, make you sick.
Giardia for the win. Okay.
So these like some of the first graves here, including Mr. Harnell, and there's actually pictures that I'm not going to show because these guys were actually really well preserved. I mean, they still look like shit, but they were really well preserved, and they had it looked like they had their teeth because essentially the lips and the muscles curl up, like the muscles contract when you I guess die in the ice. This is some of the canned food that probably killed them. Apparently, someone had the presence of mind to make a nice little cross out of it.
Oh, the grave. Oh.
Yeah, it's like in the neighborhood of the grave markers. This was from one of the follow-on expeditions. In fact, do you know the Resolute desk from the movie National Treasure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so guess what? That is connected to this story. So one of the ships was the HMS Resolute that went to find the missing HMS Terror and HMS Erebus, and they got stuck in the ice, and they had to get rescued. And luckily, they didn't die like the crew of the Terror.
But it wouldn't have been National Treasure if they got lost.
Well, maybe the crew could get lost, but the ship could be found. But in this case, everything was known. So somebody salvaged the wood and made it a gift to the president. So they salvaged the wood from the HMS Resolute, and that's how we got the Resolute. Was that a pinnace? No, that was basically a similar ship. It was an icebreaker, basically, or it was I don't know what the terminology is. I just know that the Terror and Erebus were early icebreakers, but they're technically bombardment ships that were refitted to become icebreakers. The follow-on ships, I'm guessing, were similar, but I think to save money, they probably would use any ship and just kind of refit it a little bit.
I was just making sure that the wood, the detachable wood that was donated to the president. I was curious if it came from the penis or not, but I appreciate you for clarifying.
Well, in a way, Monica Lewinsky was sitting under both. That's interesting. That would be cool if Monica Lewinsky was playing with a penis while sitting under a penis.
The meta is real.
And here's some of our A-listers right here. But we already saw the picture of Captain Francis Crozier on the left. We got Captain Franklin wearing his wig. Apparently, they call these hats wigs. They don't look like wigs. They look like hats to me. But okay, they want to call it wig. Yeah, right. This is Fitz James, which I wish I had time to get the video clip of him shooting bottle rockets at the polar bear. So in the miniseries, he's shooting bottle rockets at the polar bear. And when I started reading about this guy's history, it turned out he served in China in the 1830s, like in some British colonial conflict, and he was known for shooting giant they're not bottle rockets. I'm calling them bottle rockets because that's what they resemble to me. But these were rockets that were this big, right? In the cartoons when they show you an old Chinese rocket and it's got that ugly cone on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was those types, and the British would launch those off of a metal or wooden rack, and you shoot them at some coastal position or whatever, and I guess they would set things on fire or something. Well, anyway, apparently this guy was known for firing a bunch of these in China, and so in the mini series, there's a scene where he's shooting these at a polar bear, and I'm like, that is fucking badass.
That's pretty awesome. I dig it.
So let's see. Oh yeah, that's Lady Franklin. I don't know how to feel about this shirt. I don't know. I know this is me having my mind in the gutter here.
I mean, that's a lot of black and white cleavage right there, I guess. I mean,
that's the problem. Is there any cleavage?
Well, I don't know. I think it was tastefully drawn, even if her shirt was a little bit low cut.
I guess that's what they were going for. Actually, that's fair. That's a fair point. It is tastefully drawn because I maybe by 1800 standards having that line in the middle where you push it together like I'm trying to do right now with my lack of chest.
I think you need more of a push up for that.
I see. Oh yeah.
Either push-ups like Dwayne Johnson does, or push up like a little girdle. I mean, not a girdle, little holder for your. Anyway, moving on.
David Glenn, having a detachable. I'm going to read this incorrectly on purpose. David Glenn, having a detachable penis could be a horror story, especially if it can move about on its own. Oh hell yeah. And in QEPX, I don't know what's in that hyperlink, but if it has something to do with the Franklin expedition, I'll click it. If not, I am not prepared to go off subject today, or at the moment at least. I am very prepared to go off subject, but I'm trying to keep myself mentally on track. These are daguerreotypes. No, you're helping plenty. If anything, you're helping me practice my human interpersonal skills because sometimes I don't know when to stop talking.
I didn't know it was a human. Well, you're doing better than Gator, so let's keep going.
Oh my god, yo! One of these days I got to get him on the stream. I'll tell you a funny story about Gator later. Oh no, I mean he's got plenty of funny stories. If I remember right, Peter Venkman fan site. If I remember right, only single women had cleavage displayed for courting purposes.
Oh.
Is that on Night Court when they had the prostitute getting arrested?
I think it's when you nowadays if you go to a club and there's salsa dancing and there's wear this wristband. If you're single, if you're not single, or if you're looking. Apparently, all they needed was to show off cleavage. But nowadays, everybody has cleavage, so it's very confusing as to what they want to do. I said not everybody, but
Yeah. That's actually very interesting, and it adds context to what Peter Venkman fan site is saying. And David Glenn also adds, the Star Wars?
Star Wars.
And Venkman says, for potential spouses. Well, what if it's for definite spouses? So anyway, daguerreotypes are early photographs done on
He's a suitor.
Suitor number one. I used to not know what that word meant. But yeah, so daguerreotypes are on a copper and tin plate. And if you ever want to fuck with chemicals, it's really cool to do your own at home. But I've never done it. I want to learn how to do these one day. But these are in fact, Lady Franklin, the classy lady here, she hired a photographer to take these pictures, and then she sent an extra camera to the expedition, which unfortunately we don't have any surviving pics, probably because these polar bears ruined them.
Yeah.
And they bite. They look like they're chewing up that penis real hard. That might be part of. I think they're chewing up part of a penis right there.
Ouch. You know what?
Right?
If only Snorter Pubis Cuber was here, he could tell us more about
You know
the
something?
polar bears.
The Inuit have these oral traditions. Oh yeah, and here's like a cool model somebody built. This is like
Oh, that's
gunpla
cool.
for
It
a
is.
Franklin expedition people. Next Christmas, I want to build one of these as a morbid Christmas set.
I remember. I think last year or something. I think it was Salty now traveling sea was putting together some pirate. It was like a pirate ship or some sort of paper model. It looked pretty cool.
That's actually really interesting. Yeah, like I mean, I saw some downloadable papercraft,
Yeah.
like of starships and boats, and there's a lot of cool
Yeah.
stuff out there. I even like found a video on YouTube today that shows how to build this. The only problem is that some of the videos on how to build this are telling you how to build the War of 1812 version and not the ice refit. And I'm way more interested in the ice refit. You know?
Definitely the ice refit because we need a ice master.
Yeah, and you can't have an Ice Master figurine on a non-ice variant. I mean, you don't need an Ice Master in fucking Virginia or wherever the hell they did that whole, Star Spangled Banner. Fort McHenry.
Well, yeah, because I mean, what was they needed the tin cans reinforced when they were shooting cannons back and forth, cannonballs, and nobody got hurt. I mean, there was that. But that was a different war. That was a different time, right? Was that?
Well, I think the goal was
That was a Civil War, right?
No, 1812. Civil War
No,
was a
I'm
bit.
talking about the ones that
Oh,
reinforced for cannons. I thought that was for the Civil War.
well, are you talking about the canister shot?
Well, no.
Like
It's
when they take
about
musket?
It was about the two ironclad boats or whatever.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the South had one and the North had one, and then when they met, they just kind of traded blows and like, well, crap, nothing's happening.
Monitor and Merrimack, and I think it was the USS Virginia or some shit. And I remember when I told my mom about this when I was a kid, she's like, "Oh, those are submarines," and they weren't submarines, but in these like pictures, they look like submarines because
well, one has the turret, it's flat, and the other one has the cathedral kind of peak all the way through.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm trying to find a non-shitty picture of it. Like this is like ultra low res, but basically, yeah, you're right. It's got the flat deck. And it's got
the
turret.
cathedral. Yeah.
And these were like basically ships that were wooden and hollow that had iron plates lobbed onto them. So they ended up just dropping it. Like the waterline went down a lot. And yes, correct. Ironclads, as Mr. The Nerd Porvial Lifeform is in the chat right here. It's kind of his fault that like we're here right now in a way.
Really? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. We hung out as mods in his chat. Now we've grown wings and we've flown away metaphorically because I'm still a flightless bird.
Yep. You fly underwater. I think that counts.
Yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate that.
This was like what was the Battle of Hampton Roads, and like they're just spending like hours bouncing cannonballs off each other in a stalemate. Like, but
do you think they built some Hampton Inns back then and just like set up shop and like, okay, we're just gonna hang out in luxury in this nice, decently priced hotel with duvet covers that are washed every night and just watch them battle back and forth and just wait until this over? Let's do a gentleman's war battle.
I'd say it was more like the Hampton out, because if you got hit with that cannonball, you were out.
Fair enough.
But jokes aside, that's also a good joke. But yeah. So this thing here, what's relevant is that it did have this. We're jumping off topic a little bit, which is fine. But like that turret was like a major piece of naval technology because you could aim it, whereas the whatever the southerner one, the Merrimack. They basically could do a broadside, but they'd have to actually steer the ship if they couldn't bring a cannon to bear. That said, the this thing was, I think, steam powered, the rotating turret on the Monitor, the American
steampunk.
And so when the thing malfunctioned, you now had to have the men muscle that shit. And then as it turned out, the ship sank twice because like it just wasn't the most watertight structure. So you're going in a storm and the water's going over your deck and it's getting into the turret, and it's just a mess.
Yeah. It wasn't the best, but I mean, it was very, very integral to,
Yeah, it was an advancement, and they had this cute little umbrella on top of the turret too. Cool. So it's kind of cute. It almost looks like it belongs in a picnic or some cute shit like that.
Let's go have some Saturday brunch even.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have some brunch on the deck of the Monitor. Here's some belongings of the Franklin survivors. This is an Eskimo knife basically, and they got some broken watches and stuff. So long story short. because we'll get to the juicy part, and we'll just skip through the slideshow a little bit. So when the
When you say juicy, do you mean the cannibalism?
Oh, well, actually, maybe.
Okay.
We'll get to that. And so after the cannibalism was over, they built a storehouse, actually, the people who were trying to rescue them. And if anybody found their way to the storehouse, they would, you know, be able to go and, you know, like maybe eat and survive. But these people, like, it was no joke, the journey they had to embark on. And, you know, some of these maps, let's see if we can find a map to really convey the scale. So basically, the ships like initially got stuck up here, and then the guys are dragging like sleds. Like, so the ships got stuck here, then they're dragging sleds over here, and they set up a base camp called Terror Camp over here. Then after hanging out at Terror Camp, they drag the sleds down south, and they get down pretty far, and some of the people even make it to the mainland where they get near the river, but nobody survived. So let's get to that horror story now. So basically, to quote this here, and here's another map where they show you that the ship went here. It went around Cornwallis Island, named after the guy from the movie The Patriot. This is Beachy Island over here. It's named after a guy named Beachy. It's got nothing to do with being like a beach, as I originally thought. Somerset House also has nothing to do with summer. It's spelled with an O, and it's very cold. So anyway, the ships got stuck up here, and they dragging these sleds all the way to F down here to King William Island. And King William Island sucks. It is like a bunch of freaking rocks, like this like area here, and some of the surviving people you can see like these are like their leftover tents in the mini-series, but this actually conveys some truth. There's a scene where like the captain gets separated from his crew, and the captain finds like, you know, some of the remnants of you know, his dead crew, basically, including like leftover canned food. And so some of the surviving crew decided to just like, you know, leave the people behind, but they were like, oh, we'll go back and get them after we you know, get to the next place. But really they weren't going to come back. So anyway, it says here, not a single man survived the journey. Although some did reach the mainland, the bodies of 30 men being subsequently found near the Great Fish River. An old Eskimo woman later told how the ill men had fallen down and died as they trudged through the rigid ice. And then that brings us to the horror story. So basically, they had scurvy, they were malnourished, they had botulism if they were still eating that messed up canned food. And the title says, "They're not human." The 19th century Inuit... how 19th century Inuit coped with a real-life invasion of the Walking Dead. And basically, like, it says, like, where do we... Oh, okay, this is cool. So, okay, imagine you got some people in a what do you call it? Igloo. You can imagine igloos, right? Are you familiar with igloos?
Yeah, no. Igloos.
Okay, because I drew a picture of one today. If I need to go get it, you know, because I was drawing you at work.
You should go get it. I mean, unless you don't want to get it.
Do you want to read... do you want to read part of his article? Actually, you don't have to read his article because I just realized it's mad long. But, you know, I'll read the beginning. I'll get to a nice big fat paragraph, and then I'm going to run and get the drawing. That'll buy me enough time. So basically, it was one of the most unearthly and chilling visions that had ever struck the land that would soon become Canada. 8 or 9 lurching figures, their eyes vacant, their skin blue, unable to talk and barely alive. It was... sometime before 1850, at a remote Arctic hunting camp near the southwest edge of King William Island, now known as Nunavut, an Arctic island 1,300 kilometers northwest of what is now Iqaluit, Nunavut. And these beings had seemingly materialized out of nowhere. So you got these women staying in the igloo while their men are out hunting, and there's one old guy, and the lady comes back from outside. She's like, "They're not human. Wait, they're not Inuit, they're not human," was how a woman badly shaking with the fright first reported their arrival to the assembled camp. They were gathered all in an igloo, a place that you're familiar with. The men of the camp were away seal hunting, eating those yucky seals, leaving only the women and children and one... I'm not saying they're yucky, just that if you leave them out, they get rancid. As the group tried to process the terrifying reality of what they just heard, the crunching footsteps of the strangers got closer. Everyone got scared, very scared, was how the Gajoa Haven shaman Nicholas Quayutenuak described the encounter to historian Dorothy Ebert. So this lady wrote a book about Inuit oral tradition, and remember, like, it's important that the oral traditions are accurate, even though we always like to accuse oral tradition of being inaccurate.
Yeah.
The reality of Inuit is they live in a cold ass place. So if I tell you there's going to be some food to hunt over there, and I lie to you, it's life or death. So,
yeah, you're not gonna live to tell the story.
and
right?
you know, yeah. So like, as it turns out, they might not have been as much into taking liberties with their stories as we would assume. And
Well,
so this lady charged mad money for this book. That's why I didn't buy the book yet, but I might buy it. Go on.
I mean, a lot of the oral traditions, oral stories of this is a whole people group say the same thing, so it doesn't change as much as you'd think because it's like no, that's not how we tell the story. And I mean, it's one thing when it's like, hey, I'm bragging to my friend, and he brags to his other friend. That's about 5 people playing telephone. This is a whole society, like origin stories, like the way we orally tell, creation or origin stories. It's going to be similar, right?
And that's sort of like what it comes down to. Because like in history class, I remember the teacher like in seventh grade characterizes it as, my grandpa told a story. Oh, I caught a fish this big, and we ate really well that night.
Yeah.
Then maybe my dad comes and he's like, oh yeah, your grandfather caught this big motherfucking fish, and we ate like kings for a week. And the next thing you know, he caught a whole fucking cargo hold full of fish. Now, I mean, not everyone does that, but maybe this is Western sensibilities being passed on to these guys. I just think in the more hostile environments, people were more likely to be honest in their stories, or they had better shit to do than to make up, like stories to impress their bros.
Well, I mean, they couldn't really be influencers on Instagram because it didn't exist.
That too, and they weren't maintaining networks of writers, or anything like that. In fact, don't even get me started on the written languages that they do or don't have. I think they use strings to transmit messages to each other.
I'm not going to say that from the dawn of time people weren't peacocking and trying to show off. I mean, that's
fair enough.
But
yeah,
there's a different scale. The scale.
Scale.
Yep, the scale of the peacock matters, and that's what I'm going to leave it.
And David Glenn says the monitor needed some flex seal.
Definitely.
Yep. And then David Glenn says those mother efforts are not real. We got Halfcast in the house. Top of the evening to you. So anyway, real quick, I'll get my artwork real quick. But
Okay.
It's just so cool. I love this story, and I'll skip through it. But basically, it says everyone got scared, very scared when we read that. These Inuit were among the most isolated people on Earth. Although they knew of Europeans, they had never met a white person. They have never met a Dean, which apparently is a word for white guy. Finally, as the footsteps just stopped just outside the igloo, it was the old man who went outside to investigate. This is where it starts to get really cool or chilling. Cool and chilling, yeah. He emerged to see a disoriented figure, seemingly unaware of his presence. The being was touching the outside of the igloo with curiosity and raised no protest when the old man reached his hand out to touch its cheek. His skin was cold. I've never in all my life seen a devil or a spirit. These things are not human, is how the Inuit oral history records the old man's first thoughts. The figures, of course, were the last survivors. So this is key. It's like I always wanted to know who's the last survivor. These figures were the last survivors of the Franklin expedition. They had buried their captain. Francis Crozier was already dead, although in the miniseries they do it differently. They had seen their ship entombed by ice. They had eaten the dead to survive. And now they were 5,000 kilometers from home in the last days of a futile bid to escape the Canadian Arctic on foot. When the Inuit saw them off King William Island, the men were still hundreds of kilometers from any fur trading post, because their goal was to go to a fur or whale station, a whaling station that could possibly mount the rescue. And then, and the lady who wrote the book said these were death marshes, and she's right. And you got this picture right here, and this is actually a painting of a real scene of a place called the Boat Place. And I might even have like a nicer picture of that to pull up while I go get the artwork I created in honor of today's, stream. Where's the boat? And if we don't find it, we don't find the boat. We'll just leave that up there. So anyway, I'll leave the little text right there. But I shall return. I'm gonna get some artwork. Yeah, feel free to read it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I shall entertain you, chat. All right. Well, as it says, a renowned chronicler of the Inuit culture, EVARRR spent decades traveling the north and collecting Inuit oral history. Her 1870 book, Pitzelek, I'm sure I butchered that. Pictures Out of My Life. It's credited as the first book to be published in Inuit after the Bible. That's very interesting. In the 1990s, EVARRR then turned her sights on getting Inuit perspective on the age of Arctic exploration. What emerges cornucopia, that's a great word. Cornucopia is a great word.
Cornucopia is also like a popular Mandela effect because people will see the Fruit of the Loom logo and they're like, it's supposed to have this, and I'm like, I can't even see the label. It's smaller than my pinky.
You know what? I was talking about Mandela effect with Cubert last Saturday on our Ice House video because we were talking about how Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger taught us how to jingle all the way. Because Sinbad was definitely in that movie. I mean, there's some questions about the genie movies and Shazam and Kazam and all that stuff.
Well, I think that I think that like what was happening was like Sinbad is like an old school genie, like from like Arab like tales, and there's an actor named Sinbad, and then people are a bunch of racists, so they see Shaq and they say Shaq is a genie, and then they think Genie and Sinbad, and they somehow just draw this. I actually don't think people are racist. I'm just joking about that last part. But maybe like how some people like, but maybe. But like, bottom line is, I do see like where people make the mix up. The problem where I would take exception is like when people like swear to like they'll start going like, oh, it's evidence of CERN doing stuff with the collider, and I'm like, well, it's a bit of a leap.
I mean, I do think there was some Shazam Genie commercials back then, and it might have not been Sinbad himself and Sinbad the Sailor, and there might have been some spoof or crossover, but I don't think it's what people think, or somebody might have been spoofing him doing something on like Mad TV or something like that. But I don't know. I think there's some spoofs out there somewhere, but it's probably not the exact one we're looking for. So yeah, or maybe
I'm gonna skip that picture.
There. Yeah.
If anyone wants to see the morbid picture, say so in the chat. Okay. But I mean, like I can see where the mix-up could happen. I just think that people, instead of accepting they're wrong, will like let their ego get ahead of it, or something. But yeah, so this is what I drew. So I tried drawing an ice house, and it says it's got you holding a leash. I know this isn't it looks like you kind of lost a lot of weight and got taller. And then that's a leash around Cubert, and I wrote a little arrow that says Cubert. And it says the thinking bubble, like when you do your your Ice House videos. By the way, people, you should check out Punk Water's Ice House videos. Yeah, check out Punk Water's Ice House videos. I'll try to drop a link before I go. And oh shoot, your Barmy is here. He says I was supposed to be the first guest. Damn penguins. Ooh, that might hurt Punk Water. Damn penguins.
Barmy, I didn't know. You didn't tell me that he was replacing you with me. Please don't turn me and my family into soup. I mean, okay, so there's rumors that I've been talking about maybe turning the ice house into a bar and grill, and we might have some soups. We might have a waddle soup, but I promise you it will not be made out of real penguin. More on that in the future. Back to you, Ronnie.
Fair enough. I don't know what to say. I feel like I should maybe virtue signal or something on your behalf, but I would let what you say stand. And I will read later on Twitter. Yeah, that's where the virtue signaling will happen. I'll go on Twitter. I'll be like, how dare you say you're going to make Punk Waddle into soup? This is very speciest.
I think Oliver Twist is going to be disappointed, but because here penguins don't taste that good.
Greasy, but not fishy. I think they're fishy and greasy. I mean, no offense. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Cupid's got a collar, and he's saying the collar is slipping, just like in the Ice House videos. Oh. And then I drew like an Inuit Eskimo or Netsilik, which is the seal people right here. So that's what I drew. But anyway, so would you say your Ice House is like similar to this or more like this? That's my real question.
More like this and not this.
This?
No, the other this.
This. Yeah. That makes more sense. That is more practical. I mean, look, it's in here, right? We forget about Mr. Hartnell, the poor guy who's dead right there. But that's an igloo right there. I mean,
that is a classic, beautiful igloo.
Only issues I have with this is I feel like it should have like a little tunnel here to block the wind, but maybe they're still building it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I was told my Boy Scout master when I was a kid wouldn't let me sleep in an igloo. He said that I would succumb to frost or some shit, some boring shit like that. Yeah. So
Trust
anyway,
in your survival skills.
yeah, try, you know, all that jazz. So bottom
Yeah.
line is these zombies show up in the Inuit village, and these are like the last survivors. And this is a super long article that I thought I had a grasp over, but I'm gonna just drop a link in the chat. And while we're here, we're gonna go pull out some gunplay, and then we're gonna put a link to your channel. And let me know if you gotta be anywhere in the next like 10 minutes, because it looks like I might go 5 minutes over.
We can go a little over.
Okay.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
So basically, I wanted to share some treats today, and so I actually have an unboxing. But real quick, we're gonna just pop open a box. Let me just get my thing organized here. Just give me 3 seconds. I hope I don't. Okay, good. I think that's about right. So,
Oh, nice.
I got, see these COVID masks? You know what I use them for?
What?
To wipe excess paint. So
Nice.
anyway, so what happened was I was using these what they call God hand sandpaper, which I think are a little sacrilege.
Yeah.
But they're
Okay.
very good. And so I bought like I have like the low ones. I have like 400 to 1,000 grit. Then I have 2,000 grit to 10,000 grit. And when you dry sand it, you can get a pretty shiny look. But if you do some wet sanding, you could pretty much go from like a rough like thing to a shiny. And that's important because when you cut the nibs off, like over here,
Yeah.
I use a glass file and it sometimes does the trick. Other times I have to use the sandpaper. But you know, you got to go from like rough to, you know, not so rough. In fact, over here, I have like a little rough area that I didn't clean up properly. So I got to redo that.
So I actually have God hand nippers like that. And then I have some medium ones for clipping it off the actual runner. And
Oh,
I
these
actually
here?
picked- yeah.
Yeah, that's funny you
Yes, it
mention that. So but the Tamiya ones I thought would be like the best, but then like I eventually like had some trouble with these, like getting like
They're
these
okay.
white stress marks. So
Yeah.
I thought, like you said, I literally use these for getting them off the runner, and I use this for like the you know, the fine work.
Oh yeah, because God hand sells one that's for runner cutting, but it still costs $40. I'd rather use
Yeah.
the Tamiya or the Tamiya or the. I've used the USA Gundam Store ones, where basically Tamiya ones. Once again, they kind of have that screw spot. They're doing okay.
Yep.
They're not bad, but they got a little older. So
I'm kind of confused by this because I noticed the screw spot, and they tell you don't just frivolously adjust it, but there's a gap there, and I'm like, what is that screw doing if there's a gap?
I don't know.
I mean, they work, so I'm not messing with it. And so one side is flat and the other side is sharp. So essentially it's like shaving, like this is sort of holding the nib in place, and then this side is doing the shaving, I guess.
As opposed to the Tamiya one, right?
Yeah, now the Tamiya one, I might have messed this one up cutting something incorrectly, because you can see like that little like bite there.
Yeah.
So I only use the middle of the cutting edge now, and I avoid using this part so I don't ruin it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's an art for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning like a lot in the past recent history. So to give you an example, like, okay, so we got Grandpa Gundam, as people call it, RX-78-2, and I was using the fancy, you know, Gundam markers, and
Yeah.
I got like this dope set of metallic ones, by the way, which are so dope. In fact,
Oh yeah.
the cockpit
I have those.
on this, that's done in metallic Gundam marker right there. That's like, that's how I
Nice.
did the door. So I'm pretty happy. I lost the plastic from this side, so I shoved some putty in there, and I figured out I could just pretend it's tar, like, you know, the Xeon at the end of the war are getting kind of ratchet, so they gotta just kind of like just shove some crap whale poop in there and be like, all right, we got a seal, Shig Xeon. You know, so the painting here came out okay, but whenever I use the Gundam marker to do like a large thick coat, dust would get on it, and so that was annoying. And then down here, I kind of just like resigned myself to just like, I tried making it look like there was dirt or, you know, weathering. And,
The
you know,
Gundam markers only work so well for bigger surfaces, but they're great for small details.
they're amazing. You're right. Like, so weird thing about this here is I still got to retouch this up, but the antenna up here was actually white. And I'm like, shouldn't it be yellow? But either way, the Gundam marker made short work of, you know, addressing that. I did
I
some
think
panel.
it is white on that one. Some of
Yeah.
the-
So
the
maybe that
main
is correct.
protagonists are white.
I don't like it. I'd rather have a yellow antenna, but that looks gold. And I got to do some cleanup here, but you can see what I was trying to do with the, you know, the panel lining here. So I'm learning. And then the Victory Gundam, now I have 2 Victory Gundams, and this is like, you know, like the V2 Victory Gundam right here. And the Victory 1 and V2 are among my favorite because I just think they're so versatile. So I did a little bit of acrylic here, a little bit of acrylic here. But one interesting thing is, what is this back here? Oh, not that.
It's
That's the nose of the core fighter sticking out the back, right? So this is cool, dude. This is so freaking cool. And your Barmy says, when I was young, we used to tote a load of snow and poured a little water in to make it into ice blocks and yo, that's fucking cool. Yo, dude, the dude over here was making igloos.
That's awesome.
This dude here, I can't, my finger won't get fit. This guy here, yeah. Shit, my hand is falling off. Getting back on topic. Yeah, so core fighter, right? So for reference here, this is supposed to turn into the chest. Yeah, obviously it's supposed to be a V shape like that, but this is the turn into the chest. So I had to hand paint Uso. Uso is, you know, the Gundam pilot in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And so this shit here, I'm probably gonna break it. So let's try to break it now.
Don't break it. Don't break it.
So we turn it into a V shape, right? Because we got to stand up to the victory, or as Brian would say, the poor real life one would say, he prefers the other song, "Don't stop, carry on." So we take our rudder or vertical stabilizer, we flip it to the back. Then we take this armored plate and we got to push it up gently, like.
Dang. All right.
Wait, what happened? Oh, huh? Well, oh, I see what I did wrong. There we go. Okay, so we take that, we bring them up like that. Then we got to take this armored plate here and bring it back into the down position like that. Then we got to take this vertical stabilizer, fold it in and retract it like in the other one. Then we clip it into place, right? Then we bring this down like that so it's in a semi-upright position. Then is where things get a little sketchy. So I'm supposed to, okay, that actually, oh, whoops, I almost forgot a step. Oops, okay, we got to fold the nose down like this.
Okay.
And we got to do that. And I'm missing something here, I think. Uh-oh. See, this is the part that always messes me up.
I know. Don't break it.
And there's like a trick to this that I usually figure out when I'm off stream.
Fair enough.
Which is like
pressure.
It would be more fair. It's unfair enough. No, I'm kidding. But jokes aside, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna. Did I do it? Did I do it? Did I do that? There we go. I did it. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. We got it. So yeah. So when I finish this, one day it's gonna have legs. It's gonna be a fully transformable gimmick mobile suit right there.
Cool.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Victory. So anyway, now last thing I want to show you that I'm super pumped about. Actually, I got two things to show, but I'm going to show you them back at the same time. So we just shove this away real quick. And
have you seen any of the like? I think they're like armored puppet models or something.
No, what's that?
I might have to grab something in a second, but go ahead.
And let me just move my camera up a little bit so that I can see myself, because my narcissism will not tolerate not being on camera. No, I'm kidding. I don't really care about that, but it's just a matter of, it's manners. There we go. I'm still blocking myself. Oh, well, who cares? So anyway, at least I'm above the law.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah, right? You're the law, right? So I'm above the law. All right, so this shit's off the hook right here.
Okay.
You know what this is, right?
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Off the hook right here. So, you know, I think you have a model of the GPO2, right? Or
yeah, I do. I haven't built it. And the funny thing is about the version I have that has the nukes, or the whole, like, ensemble missile pack, it's actually a slightly different gray. It's more of a gray than the original, so people don't kind of like it, but it is a neat variant.
Yeah, I can see that being a little troublesome. Especially, I noticed that they have these like they have the what do you call it? They had these shit. I'm using the mobile suit variations, for example, was like one type. Yeah. So right here, you can see like it looks like the box. I mean, like.
Yeah.
And real quick, your Barmy says, I wonder how well the markers would work on Warhammer models. So the big issue with the markers I want to touch on real quick is they do get messed up if you spill rubbing alcohol. So let's say you're playing with rubbing alcohol next to your painted model and you spill it on the model. That messes up the paint. So I actually picked up both a gloss and a matte finish clear coat, and that's what I did on the cockpit of the Xeon mobile suit. I used a clear coat matte finish to kind of protect that, and I think it works. So I have clear coat matte and clear coat matte and clear coat gloss. But yeah, I mean, so this requires full painting, but like I always wanted this shit, and I have it. is the fucking Albion. It's so dope, you know. So I'm excited about this here, and so now I want to show you the cool accessory that I bought, or the cool thing that we are gonna unbox right now.
Right. I'm excited.
In fact, okay, let me see. I do have to clean my desk. Well, I always gotta clean my desk. I've been having to clean my desk for like ever. So, okay, let me just see if I have it. Okay, I gotta find the missing link. There it is. Okay, so this is something that I have a box on my desk, right? This is the gun primer, which is the gun plug guy. It's a gun plug guy recommended it, right?
Okay.
Well, in another box here, I have,
All right.
you know, I forgot what I have. I'm kind of still, no, I'm kidding. Jokes aside. No, honestly, I have a mobile suit in here.
Okay.
And I have the gun primer, and there's something else in here, and I don't know if it's bubble wrap or packing peanuts, but so help me God if it's freaking packing peanuts. I'm gonna be tight. Because, you know, packing peanuts...
David Glenn says he's going to bed, so thanks for hanging out. Have a good night.
You can't leave me. No, okay, David Glenn, thanks for coming by, man. You have a good night. David Glenn was among the first here, although your Balmy says he was here early, too, so could be a tie, but, either way, I appreciate both you guys coming by tonight, and I hope you enjoyed some of what we went over, and if I sucked in any way, I hope I can learn to be better at doing this thing in the future. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's a tight box. All right, good, good, good. So, I bought these pointy Q-tips because I want to see if I can get, like this to poke on the side of my eardrum.
Yeah.
Nah, but jokes aside...
those kind of work. I've tried them before. Oh,
we got an ugly GM. It's not like a master grade or anything like that.
Okay.
The Victor. Oh shit! I accidentally ordered two. Well, you know what? I'm gonna keep it because you know what? These are like disposable, right? Like you know, one gets blown up. Maybe I'll put one in my tortoise tank. I didn't mean to order two, but I don't mind having two. Like you know,
there's if you can. It just came out. It's a Gundam the Origin GM. And it has the missile pod options, but it has a bazooka pod or bazooka, and it has a regular option. It's based on the Dolan Islands.
Oh yeah.
The
Dolan's Island, whatever the guy
is. The P Bandai GM variant that they put out last year.
Mm-hmm.
Or Dolan's Island or whatever. It's Dolan's GM or something. I gotta look at the right name, but it's really cool. It's got a cool different spray gun. It's got a slightly different shield. It has the cannon for like the Origin Gundam. It has the bazooka, and like I said, it has the missile pod options. And yeah, I ordered two of them because it looks like a great grunt builder.
That sounds fun. I'll have to look into that. I never tried the premium or perfect grade or P Bandai yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the balancer, right? This is the what do you call it? What's the word here? It says it right here. Gun primer balancer. So I'm gonna use this on this semi-glossy surface that's scratched up, and we're gonna make it into a matte finish. So
hey, while you do that, I'm gonna grab something real quick.
Okay. So basically, the way this works is, like, after you cut your nibs off, or if you, let's say you want to clean up a surface, you kind of just do this, and you can see it makes a nice even roughing out. And I'm just gonna make sure we're in focus here. And allegedly, this only makes it rough, but the one I forgot to order was the white one. Apparently the white one polishes it, so this is going to be the first time we're going to see if the white gun primer actually works. Now, Punkwaddle doesn't know it, but he signed a contract to be on, like, the next 100 shows. He's going to be really disappointed when the lawyer calls and it's like, you agreed to 100 shows. So, you know, we'll have to deal with that next month, but luckily there's a holiday vacation, so he's not bound by it. But jokes aside, we got this thing roughed up, right? Okay, so it's like not ugly. It's like an even thing. It's balanced out, so the scratches are basically gone. Now, I wasn't super thorough right here, but you get the idea, right? So now we're going to unbox the gun primer, you know, polisher, and we're going to find out together if this is any good. So when you open these up, you got to be careful, because if you try to rip the plastic open, you might rip the foam sponge in half. So, you know, having a hobby knife, or I think you just slide it out. Actually, no, you can't slide it out. So, you know, just open it gently, whatever way you're comfortable opening it.
Yeah, I actually have this set too. I ordered it a while back. I almost got the USA Gundam store exclusive style, but I decided I'd just go with the regular one.
Well, I'm very curious. And let me know if you need me to pop you into full screen mode. But real quick, I'll show this balancer. So far, Punk Water, what I did was I used the balancer to get this rough texture as opposed to this side, and it removes scratches. Yeah. Now, I've never used this before, but I'm hoping it does what it says on the tin. So I'm going to find out together. I bought some,
yeah, it works really well.
Like, it does. I don't know if I'm using it correctly, but it does make it shiny.
You can only apply so much pressure, so there's not much damage you can really do.
Oh, I see.
Did you get the one with the little, like, denim cloth polishers?
Nah, and I want to order the glass one. I want to order the gun primer razor.
Yeah, that's what I have.
How is that? Is that similar to glass files, or how does it differ?
It is a glass file. It's a glass file that has, like, it's designed a little bit to capture the plastic, so you have to clean it out every now and then, but it works pretty dang well.
Yeah.
I was impressed with it. And it's also, as long as it's flat enough or big enough, I actually got both sizes of it. There's some curved spots where it doesn't work, but there's a lot of places where it just, instead of accidentally cutting or using your X-Acto knife or, sanding down too hard and making it weirdly uneven, it does help out a lot. It doesn't make it perfect.
Yeah.
But you learn how far you can go with it before you screw up your thing. So,
well, that's interesting. And like, I found that, like, with the smaller file, if I was like having the edge in the middle of the plastic, it could leave a scratch. But if I used it correctly, it generally wouldn't leave a scratch. Cleaning it, I found I could do it two ways. I could swipe it diagonally with my thumb, or use like a brush or a cotton swab or even a bamboo stick. Like, a bamboo stick is like soft, so I don't know. I mean, but there's options is my point. So, okay, never used this before, but I'm gonna it's actually shinier than when I originally got it. So I'm gonna do some trial and error with this, but so far it does shine it very efficiently. I don't know if I like that, but it does
I haven't
work.
decided how I feel about it either. But it's really neat, the things that, and it's also great if you don't want to paint them, and just you do that and then do a little bit of panel lining, and it makes it look pop that much more. I like a more matte finish typically.
Yeah.
Now, you'll have
kind of inclined to agree.
Now, if it's something round and more Xeon, like say a Sazabi or whatever, Sazabi, having a little polish will go a long way, a little shine. But if it's more fetty, bulky, square, I want it to look more matte and utilitarian.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can see that. And I'm seeing if I could balance out the balancer and the polisher. I don't think I'm supposed to use it like that. I'm just kind of experimenting. But this whole experience, like the last 4 models I worked on, or 3 models I worked on, has been all experimentation. Like, I don't know where the legs to this Zaku are. They might be either in the box right on top of my tower that I don't want to move because it'll avalanche, or it might be behind my desk. But once I put the legs back on, I'm pretty happy with the paint job. It could be better, but for me, being a total noob, I'm actually pretty comfortable with my work here.
Nice.
So what do you got on your end?
Okay, so I'll show you the box.
I'm going to pop you into full screen if I can figure out how.
Awesome. Sweet. Okay. So let me... Okay. Alright, so these are they're called number 57.
Number 57.
I don't know if it's called Armored Puppet, but here, let's see. I haven't put it together yet, but it's
wow.
I saw these on USA Gundam Store. Like, see, you've got several different options, and if you look, this one has a couple different fish that go inside, like little fish bowl. Runs the mech.
I always wanted to do that with my turtle. I always want to put my turtle in a mech suit so that they can go outside in the winter without freezing.
So, the thing, and I'll show you on another model in just a second. So, I ordered that one, and then they had a sale, so I had another one. And this one's more of an, I think it's awesome, but it's also in honor of sort of Pupa's Cuber.
Oh.
So,
okay, we got a panda, a polar bear, and a grizzly or something.
Right. So you can, it turns out you can only build one, but there's different variants, right? So one has that big back bazooka cannon. One has an arm hammer. Like here, let me show you these. Like so, you've got the
Oh, yeah, I see it.
hammer, the gun, the bazooka, like the gun cannon type thing, or you've got the bear with the just the brawler look. You can only build one, but here's the interesting thing, and I was curious about how this was going to work, right? If I can find it. Yeah. So, here, put me up.
Swapping
Like,
up.
so you've got
Oh, okay, there's the
35 heads
mm-hmm.
that just clip on. So they're made really, it's really, who is that? Who is that?
Oh, no.
So it's cool. Like the bear has the cigarette, the jaw and the tongue for the roaring bear, but it's all put all already there so that when you go to build it, you're building the mech, but you don't have to paint the face, which is really neat because I don't want to put that much effort into it necessarily.
Yes, yeah, especially that's some detailing right there.
It's a lot of detail.
Especially animals are natural looking and stuff. I mean, you saw my Albion, like, I knew I was gonna get myself in a little deep. Now I didn't like compress the parts completely yet because I could remove them and paint them separately if that makes it easier. So I mean, parts of this are ready to come apart, and I have a technique using Tamiya thin cement that glues it together, but like using like capillary action, essentially where you have these like little cracks and seams. The glue kind of penetrates in between there. So right here, these seams here are a little bit, whoops, a little bit, like rough right now. So I don't know if I have to do something different than what I did already, but I'll probably just give it like a sanding and get that like, that threshold adjusted for basically. So I'll figure something out.
Gotcha.
But I'm pumped about this.
That's really cool.
Now, these the ones you just showed me though, are those from a franchise or are those like more like a creative take on Gunpla?
So it's let me look it up real quick. It is a specific company, so they make plastic models. Like it's not Bandai, but I've heard decent things about them.
I noticed a few different like names that Bandai uses too, like there's something spirits or Takeshi spirits or
Tamashii Nations, like those aren't necessarily models; those are figures. So number 47 Manhunter, or they have number 47. They have Manhunter and armored puppets, right? So the Manhunters are more like animal beasts sort of thing. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there's also a chain Gatling version option on this one I just showed you. But like, okay, so they've got like they'll show prototypes that aren't painted yet or colored. So we've got an Earth Armor prototype that looks kind of like sort of like a rhino thing. But you also have Armored Puppet that looks more like a 30 minutes mission. Like it's, and they've got some pirate ones too that look pretty cool, but they're more like rudimentary of Kotobukiya style. They've got some pegs. They're kind of figures, but then they have the Manhunters more like animal, like they have a shark. But the Armored Puppets seem like a more of a cheaper version of what's Kotobukiya's frame arm type style, where there's like, it definitely looks like it's mechanical. Definitely has
like I was thinking about Mecha Mizumi. No, that's a girly one. That's
a girl like. So frame arm girls are Mecha Mizumi models that take a female version of the frame arms themselves, which are more just mechanical armored core type style looking.
Interesting. I was oh, okay, yeah. And I never even like this is new to me, but that that's like I see. So they got the armor on. Is that what makes that difference? Basically, like, is it the armor or is it?
Okay, so the Mecha Musume is the girl, the mechas that are basically mecha girls, right?
Yep.
But did you look up the okay
Frame arm girls, yeah.
right? But look up the number 47.
Do I have
Oh,
to put a
I have that.
pound sign or just 47 like
Just
that?
number 47. Also, yeah.
Like
No,
that big strip right there?
no. I'm trying to get you to show you what I have, or the brand that I'm looking at right now. Like number 57. Sorry. Like, are you looking at Mecha Musume or just writing number 57?
I literally typed the word frame arm girls 57.
Not Frame Arm Girls. This is a different brand entirely.
Got
So I'm
you.
trying to help you see what brand I'm actually doing.
Oh, okay. So it's like I'm gonna make up words here, like Mecha 57 or something. Maybe
Number 57.
Number 57, and then let's see if I have to add any keywords to that. Well, oh wait, model kit.
Yeah. See, that's what we're talking about.
That first one there, maybe, or should I just be looking at these? All of these.
Because
Oh,
if you go over to company. You'll see the one I just showed you is right there. Is
this like what you were showing me here?
Yeah, it's literally where I bought it from, USA Gundam Store. But yeah, something
else.
But if you go back, you can see that they have the animal versions and then more of a robotic style.
That's a shark. That's a robotic. Like, I'm gonna get. Oh, that's not the same thing. That's cool though. That looks like
some mission skill. But if you go down a little bit, there's a pirate, the black and white pirate kind of.
I'm gonna find a pirate. Yeah.
See it? You're almost there. Go to the right. Go up one level. Go to the middle. There. That's their kind. Then they have another color variation of the pirates. See, they look very simple, plug and play, but fun.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I think sometimes, like, when I pick up Gunpla, like, especially my old Victory Gundam, I was in way over my head. And, like, this one here, like, I only bought this because I couldn't find the core fighter for the first Victory Gundam, so I decided that I would just start this a new one. When I find my missing core fighter, maybe I could work on the old Victory Gundam. But, bottom line is that, like, when I got back into Gunpla, my first two models was actually this Zaku, this Victory type, and this RX-78-2, because these are all high grade as opposed to master grade. In fact, this is not even high grade. This is first grade. Like, it literally says first grade on the box.
Oh, and, yeah.
Like, I have the box here. I honestly don't know. I hope the legs are in the box. I'm actually genuinely... No. I gotta see if the... No, I don't think that doesn't sound like legs. Oh, yeah, I found the legs. All right, good. All right, I got the legs. We're good.
Yeah, and if there's any of you guys still in chat, if you've ever done any modeling or interested, you know, definitely I don't mind talking about it. It's one of the hobbies that kind of I got into before I got into the YouTube stuff. So, but yeah.
Yeah, you've accumulated a lot of Gunpla, right? Like, I remember a while back, I remember one of your interviews I saw, you were talking about the amount of Gunpla, the sheer amount you've accumulated in your travels.
Yeah. To my chagrin, I need to build them all or something.
Yeah. Well, like, that's why, like, I started with these simple ones. And, and actually, Pop Culture Mechanic touches on something, and actually, I got something to add to that. So, Pop Culture Mechanic says, I've only built Macross models.
Okay, I know he's talked about that before.
And if you ever watch Eric O'Sullivan, the comic guy, he bought some beautiful Macross kit. He sent me some pictures on Twitter Messenger. I don't know if I probably shouldn't show them because that's, like, you know, DMs. But one of these days I'll ask him if I can have permission to show the things that he showed me, because, like, he bought some cool, like, figurines, like the Valkyrie fighter from this movie. Do you remember love? SDF Macross, do you remember love? And this is the Blu-ray version. I had to add subtitles to myself because it didn't have them. But beautifully animated movie. I highly recommend it. Great production value. But anyway, he bought the Valkyrie. So the Valkyrie is, you know, a transformable fighter. The legs contain jet engines. So essentially it looks almost like an F-14 Tomcat. If you ever seen that fighter jet that has the wings that sweep back and then sweep straight. Yeah. And I don't know, one in the movie, it's got this extra booster pack on it. It's like, you know, almost like a long range booster pack. I forgot the name of it, but, you know, There's some cool stuff, the Macross stuff out there. And one of these days I'd get into it. The only prohibitive thing, I don't know about pop culture mechanics experience. Oh shit, we got a GM Sniper in the chat.
Nice.
Yeah, right? That's cool. So
GM Sniper 2.
yeah, it's even,
classic.
I might even have a GM Sniper box somewhere in the corner here. But that is cool right there.
Yeah. Nah,
You gotta watch the Japanese Raw. Okay, so Peter Venkman fans, like, funny story. I am the biggest Victory Gundam fan, like literally, because I mean, you watch Blaine's Escape Corner, and he shat on Victory Gundam. He didn't really shit on it. He just politely said that it wasn't his cup of tea. But anyway, I one time watched 12 minutes of a Victory Gundam episode without subtitles, and I didn't notice until 12 minutes later, which means I might have understood what was going on.
Sometimes you can.
Like, I don't know. It was just, I'm sure I didn't, maybe it was an innate understanding or reading between the lines, but I mean, I was following the story. Like, I felt like I had a pretty good idea what was going on, to the point that I didn't even notice the subtitles were off until I wanted a little more context, and I was like, wait a second.
Oh, I have a fun story about the GM Sniper 2, because there's the, oh gosh, now I'm gonna say it wrong. But there's the custom version, black and gray P Bandai variant, and P Bandai is just pretty much almost always just a color variant. So if you don't want to paint and you like the color scheme, it could be worth it, because if you don't have the setup now, if you have the setup and everything, and you do it and you enjoy that, well then paint them, right?
Yep.
So I can't remember the name of it because I'm a terrible person and it's not near me. But I tried to order the custom version, the Grey Wolf or the Wolf one, and
oh yeah,
it was on Amazon, but it was Amazon user. But they sent me the normal blue one, which is pretty cool. But it's like, I wanted the other one. I was like, hey, can you send me that one? And they're like, I'll return this one. I was like, well, if we adjust the pricing, can we send you both? I was like, fine. So I have the master grade of both, and I still need to build at least one of them.
Oh my god, yeah. And I know that could be an uphill, like, process. It could be time consuming, and like this, like Victory Gundam. I started on the Core Fighter here, and I took a break, and I worked on like 2 or 3 other models since then. I mean, I'm currently finishing up the Z-Gok, and I keep saying to myself, when am I going to go back to working on the Victory? But it's a master grade. And in fact, it's a version Kai master grade, right? So it's a bit more complex. Oh yeah, which reminds me, where the hell is my gun tank? All right, I don't know what my gun. I have a gun tank here somewhere that I was gonna show on stream today. Oh, there it is. And I would show you my first Victory Gundam box, but it's missing the Core Fighter. I hope I find a Core Fighter so I can finish it, or I'll have to spend like $100, $130 to buy another one.
Definitely need the Core Fighter for sure.
Yeah, you definitely need it. And well, what's funny though? There's a version of the V-Dash. Okay, so V-Dash is a Victory Gundam.
Yeah.
Now I have to pull out the box.
All right.
Only
because you said the stream was going an hour. I'm just kidding.
I'm almost done. You're right, though. So, okay, imagine this, but with the gun cannon shoulder cannons on it, right? But they're beam cannons. So, as it turns out, the version that comes in this size box that has the shoulder cannons on it comes with 3 Core Fighters. So if I misplaced one, I could potentially still have a complete model.
Yay!
Yeah, right. Shit, it's 12:11. You're right. I do have to wrap up. Like, I overslept for work last week for the first time since I started this job. I'm gonna put you on big screen because you're Punk Waddle, and it's an honor to have you. Like, you are of great prestige.
It's always fun to hang out with you, whatever mask you're wearing or not wearing. It's always great to see you. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Flu. That's my Mrs. Flu voice.
You totally nailed it.
The Wilton one I got to work on. Also, I promised Floral that I would do the Star Wars song using fart sounds with my hands. So real quick before we wrap up, and then you'll get the final closing arguments here.
You're getting there, but you kind of sound like the little little scooter thing, the little remote controller thing that makes that like noise.
I'll work on it on my free time.
Yeah, all the free time. Yeah.
It's a skill, though. It's a talent. I tried getting into a talent show, but they wouldn't let me in for some reason.
Weird. I mean, Pop Culture Mechanic recognized that you were trying to do that. You were doing the Imperial March, so I mean that's
Thank
something.
you.
Yeah.
And let's acknowledge the chat real quick. Oh wow, look at that! When I do that with the screen,
Yeah.
I just want to play around. I'm not familiar with this here. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna keep it like that. The way I do the chat, you know, like. Yeah. You know, it's not visible, but that's okay. So real quick, let's acknowledge the chat real quick. I want to thank everyone for dropping by. It's an honor to see a GM sniper here. Make sure that cooling line is hooked up to your unit if you're, you know, on the side of the mountain trying to shoot, what's his name? Shiro Amada and his girlfriend, his Zeonic and that traitor. Anyway, jokes aside, I respect Shiro Amada and his missing leg. Next time, if we ever get together, we'll talk about Hamburger Helper Bernie. Get it? Hamburger Helper? You get it? It's a double 80 joke. GM Sniper says, Gundam Unicorn is so good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Sometimes the new type bullshit bothers me, but you know what? All in all, I do get the idea of the human mind expanding and all that cool shit. Your Balmy says, the Matrix has taught Ronnie Japanese. Pop Culture Mechanic recognized the Imperial March because, yes, it was my great rendition or attempt therein. And your Balmy says, bro, GM Sniper says, bro is so good. And then your Balmy says, they knew you would win and kept you out of competition. Yeah, that's why I didn't get into the talent show. So anyway, with that being said, you know, thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you, Peter Venkman Fansite. Thank you, David Glenn, who has went to bed. Pop Culture Mechanic, check out his channel. I'm going to go get some links. Say some stuff, closing arguments, and make some points, or whatever you want to say. Say your piece while I go get some links, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I mean, we learned a lot of horrifying things about what happens if you do Arctic explorations, but thankfully, I am Antarctic. I am anti-Arctic, and I'm from the South Pole, so I don't have to deal with zombies or white men. That was a weird thing to say. Anyway, no, this has been really a lot of fun, and I do enjoy bantering with you, sir. And yeah,
we'll keep trucking it.
Yeah, and like I said, building models is a lot of fun. I do really like the Bandai models because they're well tooled, especially the more later ones in the last 5 years or so. I mean, if you can get your hands on any of the Gundam the Origin stuff, it just goes together really, really well. And sure, if you want to take the extra effort, you know, work on seam lines and stuff like that, you can. Or you can just really enjoy it because some of it's well built into it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Fun. Well, I just put out GM Sniper 2. I don't know if you actually maintain a channel, but I see a picture of a short where GM Sniper is painting his gunplay. So I will be checking out some of your shorts, GM Sniper. The Jester is his favorite mobile suit. Interesting. I think I'm vaguely familiar with that.
The Jester is really, really awesome from Unicorn. It's like the kind of the Londo Bell, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's their crack team. They have some really cool versions of that. They had the P Bandai variant from Narrative that's really, really cool.
That one's nice. Venkman touched my heart. Venkman said that Ron has reached the otaku zone. And then Venkman fans, we went from frozen white guys to gunplay. Which we did. I mean, frozen white guys, and we're now doing gunplay, right?
I mean, you're not wrong.
They were white until they came down with scurvy and didn't shower for a solid 3 years. Then they kind of lost the color they were born with.
Otakus who sit in their basement and make bottles all the time. You don't have to shower or bathe either. It's not like you're trying to impress women.
I mean, I am. That's why I build all this mobile suit shit. I thought that was the whole point.
I mean,
doesn't it bring all the chicks?
You'll impress some kind of woman. And sometimes it's the right woman. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's a toss-up, you know? I mean, you know, we'll work on it. It's like going to a Star Trek convention, except that if you go there, you find all these new Trek people. Like, you know, I bump into girls, they're like, I love Star Trek. So then I'll ask them a Star Trek question, and they'll be like, I love Christian Cumberbatch. I'm like, wrong guy.
Crap.
He's in the fucking JJ movie. But anyway, I don't want to hold you up, Punkwater. I know you're a night... You said you're a night owl, but don't you mean you're a night penguin?
Basically.
You can't
stick me up. I'm the law. Ha!
Ooh, that's a good last word right there.
Also, I'll plug something like my channel. You know, I came out with I'm starting to do more punk law videos because I am a punk waddle penguin sheriff, and there's been some developments on the Horse Gate. We had a nice sting operation, me and Rudolph, and one Chulo monster was actually an informant that I found out on the scene. I've got a little video on that coming out tomorrow, and then obviously my usual Saturdays hanging out at the Ice House in the afternoon, and then you can find me on Floor from Under Rock and the Chaotic channel that is Snow Dub, which might be pretty soon called Horse Dub, because that's all we talk
Yeah.
about is horse stuff.
And I might be shadow banned on that channel right now because of some weird glitch. But yeah, I'm gonna leave a link to Snow Dub because tomorrow night will be Taco Tuesday, and I believe will you be present?
I don't think so. I usually just hang out in the chat unless he asks me to come on.
Well, in that case, we're gonna have Rudolph Dickies there tomorrow, and Rudolph Dickies is roommates with a man named Shellback, and Shellback is a man who respects turtles like I do.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, Puffy. She's sweet. I love Puffy. So anyway, yeah. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for showing up. I want to Punk Waddle. It was a most gracious honor to have you tonight.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was an honor to be here. I appreciate you inviting me. And I don't know. I have a lot of spaceship, big starship, Star Cruiser kind of favorites, but when we get them down to the fighters and the Gundam and the mecha, I'm there for it.
Yeah, actually, so I did ask a question about Punk Waddle's favorite spaceship because I'm trying to work on something with the legendary Tron. So if anybody has any favorite starships, leave a comment with your favorite starships or science fiction spaceship. Hell, you can even throw in a real spaceship if you have one. And with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap up so I don't oversleep tomorrow. So anyway, everyone in chat, thanks for hanging out. It was an honor to have Punk Waddle. Check out the links in the chat because we have links in the chat, and maybe if I get bored at work tomorrow, I'll put them into the description. And for anybody watching on the replay, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. And for now, we shall end transmission.